Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here with John Fitch. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done Mixed Martial Mindset. I'm actually still on the road. I didn't want to miss week 3. I tried to reschedule with John before, and then I got caught up with family stuff on top of
They were
everything.
slow fight weeks, anyways.
Well,
They're
not
slow
this
fight
week.
weeks.
This week had not
This
only,
one, yeah, this one we had the big fight finally, but it was still so hard.
I also watched Risen at
Like
1
I
a.m.
was really looking forward to the 280 because we had 1 week off, and then we had two fights, two cards. I can't even remember anybody who was on the card. And I was really like, yeah, 280, here we go, let's get it. And it's just wah. The main event was great, but
I mean, I think that also the O'Malley Yan fight was fun to watch. A lot of controversy there. I think that O'Malley showed that he belonged in the top tier. I had it 2-1 Yan. What did you think?
yeah, I don't know if I had any rounds to Sean. Like I don't know. He's just not impressive. He's got powder puff punches. Whatever he lands doesn't seem effective. I'm not on board. And I felt like Jan really dominated him through that fight and was playing with him. And it's very surprising that they call that in O'Malley's favor. I was very surprised.
And then
But then again, at the end of the day, it's all production, so I'm not surprised.
well, they've been trying to sell O'Malley, but listen, I'm not taking anything away from O'Malley in that fight. I still believe Peter Yan to be at the top of that division, could beat Aljamain Sterling on any given Sunday. In fact, I expect that there will be a third fight between those two somewhere down the line, probably in the near future. What I wanted to talk about today, John, is the president of the United States, the poopy pants puppet in office that literally doesn't know what's going on, doesn't know where he is basically promoting the abuse of children. They're coming after your children again. And this is the new Biden says he backs gender-affirming health care and slams Republicans to ban sex changes for children in an interview with transgender TikTok activists. Now, I'm so sick of this false inflation of the idea that these are the most popular people on the planet, especially by this administration. You had, I don't even know whether it was transgender, but you had that weird kid in a dress with his nails and the Jen Psaki video that we played probably 6 months ago. And we're only going to play this small clip because I want people to watch Joe Biden say it. This is supposedly like the most popular thing in social media now, to be a transgender person. And here's a man dressed up as a woman talking to Joe Biden about literally abusing your children, and not just abusing them, but putting it to the point where they won't be able to come back if you start injecting them with these horrific medications.
Using them for clout, using them for social clout.
Do you think states should have a right to ban gender-affirming health care?
First of all, there is no such thing as gender-affirming health care. I want to make that extremely clear. That's not real.
Made up.
That's totally made up.
I don't think any state or anybody should have the right to do that. As a moral question and as a legal question. I just think it's wrong.
So let me just stop everybody here. I want to let everybody know where I stand. There should be laws against any parent that would mutilate their child physically or inject them with drugs or hormones that alter their biology for the rest of their lives. 18, let's have the conversation, okay? But even then,
unless you're trying to change the legal age of being an adult, legal age of consent, legal age to go to war, legal age to buy a gun, to buy cigarettes, liquor, unless you're going to change that, like, no, you're not going to tell me that somebody who isn't old enough to choose what time they go to bed gets to decide whether or not they chop off body parts.
And ultimately, this is about the separation of you from your biology, the empowerment that parents no longer get to decide anything about their children at all. And the idea that now biology doesn't matter anymore, nature does not matter, and you can literally become anything you want, and this is a transhumanist movement. I want to repeat that, a transhumanist movement. We're going to be reading subsections of From Transgender to Transhuman by the most powerful transgender person on the planet, the richest transgender person on the planet, where even a decade ago, when they wrote this, it was about billions of sexes. But you see quickly where they move it into, and they even try to make the XY, XX chromosome argument irrelevant. And they do so in a laughable fashion by trying to point towards
Everything
the Special
you do
Olympics.
is laughable. Like, there's not a coherent argument. Although I didn't feel like I'm a boy anymore. I didn't feel like I'm a girl. Like, there's no scientific way to explain or like pinpoint. How do you show? How do you show that that's what you are? How do you show that you are trans and you're not just making it up at that moment? There's got to be a scientific way to do it. They have zero ability to do that.
Well, there
There's
is no
no test you
scientific
can
way
take.
other than making outright statements that are false. But I want to show people.
That's all it is. It comes down to your statement. As long as you make a statement, then that's all it is. I'm a boy. I'm a girl. That's all.
Yeah, that's absolutely all it is. Now, I want to remind people that back when the poopy pants president, the puppet, could still, speak and still think on a regular basis, not just fall asleep or say absurd things like we're going to show you in the next clip. This is the type of stuff he was doing. All right, this is the guy that is supposedly the most powerful person in the free world. A man that literally, when given the opportunity to sniff a child, physically put his nose on the back of a toddler. Look at that. Oh, just get that sniff in, Joe. Let's see it in super slow motion. Yeah, there it is. Oh, yeah. Now, again, Joe Biden is so far gone and has no idea what's going on that he thinks that he passed a bill in Congress, all right, to forgive student loans. He believes that he got it voted in by 1 or 2 votes. No one voted on anything. That's imagination land. He doesn't know what's going on or where he is most of the time.
Secondly, if you don't have one of those loans, you just get 10,000 written off. It's passed. I got it passed by a vote or 2.
He got it passed by a vote or 2. There's no vote at all. He just says what he wants, and nobody challenges him on it because we live in a COVID 1984 post-truth world where people are acting like either he or Kamala Harris has anything to do with what's going on in the world. They are the most apparent puppets we have ever seen in this country, John.
What is Kamala even doing? She just shows up places and cackles and then gives big, long-winded speeches about nothing that just go in circles.
As far as I know, that's about it, John. I think that that's actually a very accurate description. Like
it's a comedy show. It really is. If we weren't facing a catastrophic economic collapse, this would be hilarious.
Not only a catastrophic economic collapse, but also on the brink of World War III, with U.S. troops now openly on the ground, openly with NATO, with people like Petraeus advocating, Petraeus, by the way, Bilderberg guy. Yeah, advocating for World War III. None of this is funny to me, but it's a big joke to them. So, I want to show people behind me. This is the cover to From Transgender to Transhuman, okay, by Martine Rothblatt. Now, this is the second edition, so it's got a nice little, like, almost 30-page forward. But I want to bring people to the beginning of this book where you can see what it opens with. And what does it open with? Billions of sexes. And what is a male and what is a female? And in this, okay, they advocate in the very beginning. Let's just read the first paragraph. There are 2 sexes, male and female, right? Wrong! In fact, there is a continuum of sex types. Now, again, they'll tell you now, as they've moved the goalpost, sex is different than gender, but this is while they were trying to move the goalpost. So that's why there's billions of sexes instead of billions of genders. Again, not billions of people, but billions of sexes, ranging from very male to very female with countless variations in between. No, there are no countless variations. No, there's biology. This startling new notion, it is startling, but at this point, it's not new, is just now beginning to emerge from feminist thinking, scientific research, no scientific research. Again, imagination land, all right? Scientific agendas, and a grassroots movement called transgenderism. Not grassroots, funded by people like Rothblatts that are post-humanist and transhumanist billionaires. The first paragraph is so filled with fallacies, I want to throw up. In the future, labeling people at birth as male or female will be considered just as unfair as South Africa's now abolished practice of stamping black or white on people's ID cards. Okay? Now, you start talking about this, and this person is saying that biology is an accident, okay? Would we consider predetermining a person's life path based on either accidents of biology, such as birth weight, eye color, skin tone, or hair texture? So again, your genitalia, your chromosomes, your hormonal biological build is now an accident of biology, John. How do you feel about that accident of biology?
It's an accident of biology. So it wasn't an evolved. So they're moving away from evolution now. Is that it?
Well, again,
because how do you have evolution if there's no genders or if there's an infinite number of sexes? It's all just confusing. It's bizarro world. It's absolutely bizarro world. I don't know what idiots possibly believe any part of this. Like, it's got to be very emotionally disturbed people or people who are not very smart, because this doesn't make any sense. And I don't know anybody who supports this. You know, even in being California, I think at the most you'll have people who are just like, oh, we'll just let people be alone and let them do their own thing. But where is the support coming from? It's definitely funded.
Well, it's funded by people like this that are very smart. So the people that go along with it, I would argue you're correct. They have a low intelligence level. They're not independent thinkers. They're not well educated. They're people that are driven by Bernaysian talking points and propaganda and going along to get along. But this person damn well knows what they're doing when they're writing things like this. The shape of one's genitals. So there's no difference between a vagina and a penis other than the shape. Okay.
Yeah, like there's no difference between testicles and ovaries.
None.
And what they function and what their function is.
Nope. It's
There's
just
no
the shape.
Is there any mention at all of hormones?
Yeah, we're going to get there. Oh, this book is it, man. This is the manifesto on the freedom of form. So let's go back to this. And again, this is a very powerful person. This is the person that authored Virtually Human, The Promises and Peril of Digital Immortality, and Unzipped Genes, where they want to take charge of childbirth and no longer have biological childbirth and instead engineered humans. So again, the shape of one's genitals would appear to be the most arbitrary basis.
This is all sexless people.
Well,
this is all people who can't get laid and they think this is going to fix some problem for them.
Well, this person,
I generally believe at the end of the day, all these people just need to get laid.
The scary thing about Rothblatt is that Rothblatt is still with their wife of 3+ decades and had 2 children with that person before undergoing sex change surgery. So Here we go. The shape of one's genitals would appear to be the most arbitrary basis for determining to which of two fundamental human classes a person should belong. How did we arrive in this situation? Searching back into prehistory. So now we're going all the way back into prehistory. Our ancestors recognized that genital shape was a systematically recognizable difference among humans. No shit. Now get down to the bottom. As civilization advanced, extensive gender-based rituals and customs reinforced the ancient genital-based division of
denial of all
society.
biology and biological function.
Well, again, not according to
Attraction
these.
and oh man.
I mean, today, progressive people accept as self-evident that genital morphology, shape, is irrelevant to one's productive role in society. Again, that's a misnomer. Women were always productive in society, and women have always shared certain roles with men as men have shared roles with women. For instance, during times of war, women would get on the assembly line. Okay. In other times, obviously, in modern relationships, when the woman is out working, because we live in a society where both sexes work, guess what? Tons of men cook for their children. Pretty sure you cook for your children, don't you, John?
Yep.
Yeah. And that does not negate one's biology, one's genitalia. All right. And again, they know what the next argument's going to be, John. Get this. Are genitals but the tip of the iceberg? It might be argued that genitals are but the tip of the sexual differentiation iceberg. Don't women have XX chromosomes and men XY? Of course they do. Doesn't this chromosomal differentiation give rise to a wide variety of clear differences between the sexes? Hormonal balance, reproductive capabilities, physical abilities, mental thought patterns? Of course it does. But get this, ready? Surprisingly, the current scientific answer, because we've always got to trust the science, to these questions is increasingly no, or at least ambiguous. And then they try to say, go ahead.
Miles of data that can show you how nonsensical that is.
But again, these are just statements based in nothing that have no citations whatsoever. And these are
the
these are the thought leaders we have to look up to. And
this is just imagination land. This is like you're given fuel to feed their imagination fires.
Bro, it's so unbelievable when you read this. This person also tries to say that it's impossible to tell when somebody's had sexual reassignment surgery and been on these hormones that they're not a biological female or male.
Bullshit. Bullshit. Bull. I've never not known. You've never been fooled. That's just nope.
Nope. It's nope. It's nope. But this is where society is trying to bring us. Why? Because these people truly want to obliterate the family. They want to take hold of human evolution, and they no longer want it to be about traditional biology, but they want a predator class to be in charge of a quote-unquote scientific elite that will now take charge of the next genomic evolution of the human species. And that evolution is not allowed to reproduce. It is not allowed to have societal roles because they want to end humanity. I know that sounds dark. I know that sounds over the top. But when you read shit like this, what other conclusion are you supposed to come to, John?
I mean, they definitely want to get rid of as many people as they can. And if they can get enough suckers and dummies to bite on this nonsense, I don't think they'll have any problem with a few billion people dying or not reproducing.
Well,
much easier to control people. Smaller numbers.
I mean,
it's a smaller fenced-in area.
Yeah, and by the way, who is advocating for people to have a multitude of children? Who right now is advocating for traditional values based in the union of a man and a woman? Who out there is really promoting not Christianity in general, but the ideologies surrounding Christianity that are based in those male and female roles? I can't really name anybody of prominence doing that. And especially people that are being amplified by social media and really the traditional media as well.
There's not much out there to view and take in that is like wholesome type television or entertainment. Scrolling through all the Amazon, the Netflix, Disney, all that stuff. You got to go back. You got to watch stuff from the 90s and before if you're going to be free from the messaging.
Well, the messaging is everywhere. And there's not a modern day film that I've seen that hasn't snuck something in. And my girlfriend...
Constantly, all the cartoons, they sneak little things in here and there, out of nowhere for no reason. It's like, oh, well, there's some kids playing whatever. And like, oh, bye, Dad. Oh, it's two guys kissing. And then it goes to something else. Mm-hmm. It's like, why did that even have to be in there? Like, I don't remember watching shows where you even saw the kids' parents.
And I want to say
why
this.
Why is it being shoved down your throat everywhere?
Yeah, again, if you're a man in love with another man, great, do your thing. Woman in love with another woman, great, do your thing. But there's obviously an agenda to promote these type of lifestyles because, like you said, at the end of the day, it is anti-human because they cannot reproduce. No matter how many times, again, the media tries to tell you a man can get pregnant, he cannot. And two of the examples that I'm going to give in these children movies are just ones that I've seen recently. I love the movie, DC Super Pets. Really fun.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? Did you watch it with the kids?
Yeah, we watched it last weekend.
Okay, so it was a couple weeks when I watched it, maybe like a month ago, but I really enjoyed it. Right? I thought it was really fun.
It wasn't bad. Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, it was all right. But at the same time, what did they sneak in there? Right in the beginning, a couple of dogs are talking, and the dog talks about its owner's new fiance. And then what do? Cut to two women talking to each other, the owner and the new fiance fawning over each other. Really quick. And obviously, some small children are not going to get the reference, but absolutely there on purpose. Now, another example I will give is the promotion of this drag queen thing, which is now in the schools and totally and completely inappropriate, the new Hocus Pocus movie. So there's a point in that film where the original Hocus Pocus people get up on a stage and it's actually a costume contest to be those three witches. Well, the Bette Midler character turns to one of the costume groups and says, hey, lose the teeth, because they got the buck teeth as part of it. And it is a group of men dressed as women. And I think the person says, you better beat it, sister. And then the other drag queen snaps their fingers. I'd like somebody to show me a kid's movie that's been produced or put out there in the last 24 months that hasn't snuck something like that in. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I can name one, John.
Yeah. Yep, it's everywhere. You see it now. Yeah. The kids point out because like they're 8 and 10. Mm-hmm. Like it's not on the radar. It's not on the radar at all. Like anybody kissing on the screen gets an ew. Like it's not. They're not at that stage yet. Like you don't need to be forcing this sexual stuff on them. Like it's not in their wheelhouse. It's not in their world at all, and there's no reason for it to be. Like you're grooming people. You're grooming kids for sex. If you're introducing sex and sexual oriented things to them before their teenage years, like their hormones haven't kicked in, they're not thinking about it. You're putting that on them. That's abuse from the parent or the people you've got that kid around. If that kid's being sexualized before they're 12, 13 years old, they're being exposed to it in any way. Like you've got a broken environment.
And now the advocation of these hormone blockers are for 8-year-olds, are for 6-year-olds, when obviously these children don't even have an idea of what they are, let alone who they are.
No, that's gotta be. That's another. There's like a multi-tentacled approach to depopulation. You know, get people eating terrible food, get them fat and sick, make healthcare unaffordable, get kids all thinking that they're gay or trans, right? Put them on puberty prop blockers and other stuff. get them jabbed with mysterious chemicals that make it impossible for them to reproduce later in life, or get heart issues and die mysteriously. Right? Like they've got a bunch of, it seems like they got a bunch of things working.
And things are rolling. And again, they want to take away the ability for parents to choose anything in their child's life and bring in child protective services if you dare to take authority over your child. So in other words, you're now an abuser if you dare to question whether your child should be injected with hormone drugs that will physically alter them for the rest of their lives. And we've set up a school system where this is now the norm, where you have to entertain this gender ideology and also not tell the parents if the child wants to identify as a purple giraffe with two heads, John.
It's insanity.
Total
It's insanity.
My
My oldest wanted to be a dinosaur. I've told this story before. He wanted to be a dinosaur, and we just moved to Vegas. You know, it's hot, even though it's like October, and he found a one piece dinosaur outfit. He could zip up and put the hood on, and he wore that thing every day until Halloween, and then he wore it every day after Halloween until Christmas time. And it finally started getting too small for him, and he couldn't wear it anymore. And his grandparents bought him another one that was nicer and a little bit bigger. And he wore that almost until the next Halloween, like every day. It was about 9 months of him being a dinosaur. But I didn't take him to the tattoo parlor to have his skin tattooed green. I didn't get his tongue cut and split open. I didn't have him get put on some type of lizard hormone supplement.
Well, in the future, with mRNA technology, according to Elon Musk, they could turn you into a butterfly. So I don't know why they couldn't turn him into a T-Rex or a Velociraptor or a Stegosaurus. And maybe, again, in the future, you'll be a bad parent if you don't want to do that for your child, who clearly knows that they're identifying as a prehistoric dinosaur, John.
Yes, it's wild, man.
So what's been happening with John Fitch Knows Nothing over the past couple of weeks? What are some of the stories that are on your radar?
Well, we've been covering the fights mostly. Covered the fights, and I went on a little hike. We went to Pinnacles National park for the kids. Had a scout event, and we camped, and it was fun. But I talked a little bit on one of the shows, kind of how important being in some level of shape is. Just your daily routines and enjoyment, just doing stuff with your kids, going on hikes. We went on like a 3-mile hike. It wasn't very challenging. There were some parts where you went through some caves and stuff like that. And, you know, first off, we're already at a national park, already outside. So there's no obese people anywhere to be seen. So like obese people are missing out on already at these great attractions we have around. And then the people, you know, there's some people who are carrying around some extra poundage, carrying around some extra fat, and you could see them visibly struggling and having a hard time on the hike. Some of the people had kids with them, and they're carrying around extra weight. And the kid gets tired. The little 3-year-old gets tired, so they got to pick up and carry the 3-year-old. You know, now they're carrying like 100 pounds of extra weight they don't need to be carrying. And seeing that, you know, made me think about how much a lot of people are missing out on in life when they don't take care of themselves, when they're not lifting, when they're not exercising. And you don't even have to be killing yourself to have a medium level of physicality to be able to do those little hikes and stuff, you know, 20-minute walk a day and lifting some weights, get on some strength program. And that'll do wonders for you. Little extra lean muscle from The strength program, resistance program will help lean you out, because the more muscle you have, the less fat, you'll burn more fat. And it makes it easier to do those walks when you're not carrying that extra weight around. You're not going to have to risk falling down some rocks, because you're carrying 40 pounds on your belly.
And I would also argue, if you are in better physical shape, your mind is also going to benefit from this, because a lot of mental health
Emotionally,
issues,
mentally, yeah.
well, I mean, a lot of mental health issues can actually be cured, in my opinion, through physical conditioning and seeing that you can set goals and improve yourself, and that is going to improve your mental stability, your mental health overall. I was watching Andrew Tate on the Piers Morgan show, and he was using the example, and of course he was attacked by Piers Morgan for daring to say this. And Piers Morgan,
Yep.
I just want to say this: you're a piece of shit. Yeah, I'm not buying into every once in a while you have a correct talking point. You're a total piece of shit. You're an authoritarian, Johnny nonsense, water carrying cult
Yep.
member in many cases.
He pushes the narrative hard.
Oh, he pushes big time narrative. So Tate starts talking about how an individual had contacted him via email, said that he was on all these different types of SSRIs and he was still depressed. He'd been diagnosed with clinical depression from a doctor. Now, Piers Morgan countered, did you see his medical records? As if that's something that he should do, and this person was being disingenuous.
Because doctors are so trustworthy, and everything they put on paper is the fact.
Yeah, well, he's also trying to say that this person is somehow reaching out to Andrew Tate and he's not really mentally ill, or this didn't really happen, and this is a fictional encounter. Anyway, he comes to Tate and he says, look, I've tried all these drugs. I still have these mental health issues. They seem to stem from a relationship which is broken off by his significant other. And Tate said to him, look, I'm going to give you a chance. Before I even talk to you again, the first thing I want you to do is get a six-pack. He's like, you get a six-pack and you're still feeling this way, then we can talk some more and maybe work out some life skills. So the guy starts sending him pictures and eventually progresses to the six-pack in about 6 months. And Andrew Tate is like, well, how do you feel? And he's like, well, I'm off all of my medications. I feel so much better. And, I was at a state in my life where I was really considering suicide. And this turned everything around, and my entire outlook on the world has changed. I know you do personal training and you train people in private sessions to know how to defend themselves. Have you encountered situations like this where somebody improves their physical state?
I mean, with the self-defense stuff, absolutely. Guys who have a little bit of training and know how to operate a little bit under fire. I teach them how not to get. That's one of the first things we do is teach you how not to get knocked out. Right? And we work on force clinch type stuff. So like I get them in pretty early, throwing punches at them, and they have to kind of eat it, and that will build your confidence. Once you've gotten hit a few times and you understand that, oh, okay, I can take a little bit of a pop in my arms or shoulders or whatever, and still close the distance and get to my target. Once you start feeling comfortable in that situation, like they go out to bars, they go out on trips and they're around other people, and people get drunk and people get lippy. They're just always commenting on like how much calmer they are. Somebody got lippy or whatever, things didn't escalate because they were able to like be calm and they felt comfortable in their own skin. And a little bit of training goes a long way. It's a good thing to do. On the training thing, we've talked about on this show about how physical training is better for depression than most of those drugs they're giving them. We saw the results of those things. They were as effective as doing it. It was as effective as the drugs, as effective as the placebos. Like, you're better off working out and taking placebos than you were taking those the pills. And we've also seen, I sent you some stuff there's about creatine, how creatine like helps with your mood and depression and stuff like that. So if you're on path, if you have a goal, I think that's the first thing that probably helped that guy out. He had a goal, You know, he's drifting around. He has nothing going on, nothing in his life. He got left by the girl, probably because he didn't have any goals. And then now he's got Andrew Tate telling him, hey, get a six pack and then I'll talk to you some more. Well, now he's got a goal. Like if it's a small goal, but it's a goal. So now he's got something to get up to every day and be like, well, I got to do this stuff in order to get to that goal. That's going to pull you out. You know, the physicality, the physical stuff of physical improvement, feeling better, eating better, all that stuff helps. But that anchor of like a goal, like I'm doing this. This is what I'm about. This is my mission right now. Like when you have that, like things start moving. The dark clouds start going away.
You know, earlier in the day, I had a guy named Jeremy Sladen, former pro ball player, on the program. And he runs a program called MBS Warrior that are in intervals. So the next one starts up in 22 days. And essentially, it's not just a workout program, but it's one with accountability with other people driving towards those goal sets. Talk about how accountability is something that you really need when you're getting into these mindsets and these goals. And that competition is also a great driver in saying, hey, I'm going to stick with this.
And having other people around you going through it too. One of the big problems you'll find is a lot of us, you know, especially if you're an older guy, if you're 25 plus, I'll say, there's a good chance that you're kind of cemented into some of your circles. You know, you've kind of got the family people around you, your work people around you. You're kind of in a routine. And if you're not in a routine of other people who care about like eating healthy and working out, you're going to be bombarded with just filth, you know, everywhere. Nobody's going to want to work out. Nobody's going to want to do anything physical. It's always going to be about booze and smoking. It's always going to be about shitty food. So you're going to have a hard time with that accountability when everybody in that circle is like pulling you away from what you want to do. So when you have a group of people to meet with, or you have a group like I offer with my my fitness package, I put people on my Telegram chat. So all the people who are working out can be in that chat together. So now you have at least a digital circle of people who can kind of hold you accountable, and you can kind of see the workouts and ask questions about the meal plans and stuff like that.
And I think that's so key. Because once you are accountable, once you do feel this camaraderie, that's when you can get to the competition aspect of it and say, you know what? I'm going to do it better than you. That's what I want to do. And I don't see that in a lot of other people, unfortunately. I see a lot of people, how do I describe this? Getting in a situation where all of a sudden that's not important, but there's no one to say, hey, wait, no, that is important. You have to get up at this time. You can't sleep in. You can't keep hitting that alarm. And 15 minutes more, and 15 minutes more, and 15 minutes more. And you can't wait until tomorrow. There has to be that driving force of not only accountability and competition, but regiment, where you're on a schedule and you're sticking to that schedule. That's where you become more and more powerful. And in my mind, you become happier as you do it.
Discipline is freedom. It's all of the bad feelings, all of the depression, all of the anxiety, they stem from a lack of action. Right? The lack of action. That's what you are feeling that about. You're not doing something. Your body's trying to tell you that you need to get something done, and you're not getting it done. So now you feel all messed up inside. The answer is to get that stuff done, is to be active, do the work. You know, eat healthy, do the workouts, get your job done, do it well.
Fitch, I've got the family coming back in about 5 minutes. We're going to wrap this one up a little quicker. Tell people how they can support you. Obviously, everything's over at johnfitch.net, but tell them when the programs are on. John Fitch Knows Nothing, Learn to Fight, and how they can be involved in a situation where they can improve upon their physical health and then their mental health as well.
Yeah, well, you can check out go johnfitch.net, sign up for the newsletter. I have fitness programs. I have fighting programs. I have stuff available up on my Gumroad. I give all my social medias a follow. and book a consult, ask some questions, and I can get you feeling better physically with minimal work. Like I took my lifting system that I developed for martial arts, and I continually use it because it's doesn't overstress. I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder. I'm not trying to compete as a professional football player. I'm not a power lifter. I don't care what my max bench or squat is. It doesn't matter to me. Like, I want to move weight, feel good. I like feeling good, and it helps me stay healthy, helps me stay good. So, like, I do, 3 to 6 lifts in a day. I keep it short and sweet, and get on with my day.
Folks, you can support myself with the links down below. All the documentary films are free. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and of course, Shade the Motion Picture. We're on Red Voice Media. Every Friday, we've got an exclusive. The last exclusive was Thomas Renz. Subscribe now for only $1 for the first month, then goes to $10 and $100 for the year if you want to do that. Subscribe with the link redvoicemedia.net/Jason, and we're going to be moving to a 4-day-a-week show, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., as soon as the week after next. I'm on the road in Branson, Missouri in another 2 weeks, giving yet another speech on transhumanism, so come out to the Reawaken America tour if you can. And Fitch will be back at the home base in Iowa next week for a full-hour broadcast, not cutting it short. We'll see you then, John?
All righty, I'll be here.
All right, sounds good. And folks, we'll see you on the flip side.
All right, check y'all later.